Hey everybody, it's Candy, aka Brown Eyed Girl 69. How y'all doing? Well, today my video is going to be a little bit not as positive as the last 17 videos that I've done. I've just been under a tremendous amount of stress in the last few days, and I normally don't call into my job because, well, I need my money. I need my work. DoorDash hasn't really been as good as I've been expecting it to be, simply because I haven't had the motivation or energy to really want to do DoorDash, but I'm going to better probably have to get into that mode of thinking just because. Why is being a parent so hard? Why is, I think they never really tell us the truth when it comes to certain things. And that's one of the things that they didn't tell us about parenting is that parenting doesn't stop when your child reaches the age of 18 and moves out of the house. Parenting doesn't stop even if your children are no longer living in your house and are out in this world with their own partner, their own family. But they're still your children. No matter how old they get. Just like me, I'm 56 years old. My mom's 92. My mom will be 93 in May, and I'll be 57 in June. But even though we are the ages we are, she's still my mother. And she still has all right and authority to speak to me as if she is my mother and as if I was a little child again. If I did something even in my adult years that was really uncalled for. I don't have anybody to talk to about my feelings, what I'm going through, how I feel, what I feel, why I feel it. I don't have anybody to bounce my thoughts and ideas off of. I get angry because of the fact that I don't. And it's not because I haven't tried to find those types of people. Maybe I'm just afraid to reach out, but then when I do reach out, they either don't respond or they'll ask me, "Who's this?" And if they do respond and you start trying to have a conversation with them or at least try to get a little bit of small talk going to get on the conversation train, but they never respond back to that next message you send them. Even though the first message was a very positive message that they sent you. Sometimes I wonder where I went wrong in the raising of my child. What harm did I do to her so much that would want to cause her to drown her sorrows a lot in life? Is this something I did when she was a child? Did I cause her some sort of trauma? And the only way she can face or deal with that trauma is to drink? Or is it the fact that she's with someone that doesn't have any direction in life, doesn't know where he wants to go, doesn't know what he wants to do? Hell, he probably don't even know who he is. And he's suffered trauma throughout his life as well. And deals with issues, that affect him and how he responds to things. And his response to things is to drink his problems away. My concern is for my grandchildren. My concern for my grandchildren doesn't really stem from the fact that I don't think that my daughter and son in law can take care of the kids, because I know they can take care of those kids very well when things are going right, when the money's flowing in, all the bills are paid, and everything's hunky dory. But life isn't like that. And it takes two in this economy now to make ends meet. And when you have a partner who's not willing to do that, or feels like they're hindered by the situation they're in because of the fact that they only have one vehicle and they have three children and they have schedules to adhere to that concern those children during school year, it's easy to come up with excuses as to why certain things can't get done or any progress made. I really hope that the events that took place last night that I had to deal with into the early hours of this morning on very minimal sleep really caused them to step back and do some evaluation of their lives and to reach out for help if that's what they need. If they need to reach out to a family member to assist them in getting help, then they should do that as well. Even if that family member isn't family. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to try to get them help. I'm willing to help wherever I can. Even if that means me watching my grandchildren while they're getting help. Um, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a big place. But I got a big heart and a lot of care and love to give. I just don't want to see my son in law and my daughter go down the same path that my parents went down because of substance abuse. My father was an alcoholic. When you're a kid, you realize some things, but you don't realize the whole gamut and array of things until you get older, and then maybe you start thinking back to certain things, certain events, and you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together and realize that you're you're damaged more than you thought you were due to some of these things, or that you realize some of these events shaped you and molded you into who you are. See, whenever I was younger, I was just a typical kid like anybody else. But the one thing that I didn't ever really get into abusing was alcohol. I just never was really turned on by it. It was more of a social event for me. I never drank at home. And I wasn't one of these types of people that like to go to people's houses and sit around and drink. I wasn't like one of those types of people. If I wanted to drink, I would go out to a bar with a group of friends and drink the evening away. But I never did it alone or with anybody else in my home. It just wasn't something I did. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that my father was an alcoholic. He was drinking at home all the time. My dad always had a drink in his hand, regardless of what time of day it was. My father was a functional alcoholic. My father also died at the age of 53 when I was 17. So I've had to live almost 40 years without my dad because he couldn't man up enough to admit that he had a problem and that he needed help. And the way the system programmed you. My dad, he was a somewhat successful businessman in the oil field industry, and he wanted to make an impression on others in his group. And I don't think my dad realized how much of a physical addiction that his consumption of alcohol would lead him to have. Because my dad didn't start drinking until he was probably in his mid 30s on a normal, regular basis. He might have been a little younger than that, I don't really know. But I think it did really start coming on when he was a little older, when he was in his mid to late 30s. And I came along when my parents were 36. Um, so yeah, it was sometime around the time I was a baby until probably 2 or 3 years old when he started picking up drinking, but it was probably actually before that. His consumption of alcohol probably didn't get heavier until I got a little older. And I'm sure there were times in my life that my dad was inebriated and I didn't know it. But I definitely know for a fact that he was inebriated the day that he gave me his styrofoam cup, which had a mixture of Coca Cola and Crown Royal in it. Why did he give it to me? He gave it to me because I just thought there was Coke in it. I didn't know there was any other substances in there. All I knew is I seen him pour Coke in his styrofoam cup. So I kept asking him for a sip. Can I have a sip? Can I have a sip of Coke? Come on, Dad, let me have a sip of your Coke. So he finally just got tired of hearing me beg for a sip of Coke, and he gave me his cup, and he knew the final result would be me spitting it out and me never asking for a sip of his drink again. And that's why he did it. And he was correct. As soon as that Crown Royal hit my lips, my tongue, my throat, I spit what I could out because it was not a very good tasting substance. And needless to say, I never asked my dad for a sip off his soda ever again after that. But it left a very impressionable event in my mind. And that's probably why I'm so turned off by alcohol. I've tried to teach my daughter that I don't want her to drink because of the things that it did to my dad, how it consumed my dad, and how it took my dad's life from him. I'm against any substance that doesn't strengthen your body or your mind while you're doing it. And the only substance that I have found that heals you while providing relaxation and the calming effect is cannabis, marijuana, weed, whatever you want to call it, pot. I don't care what you call it. The herb of Mother Earth that cures any ailment, mental or physical, hell, even spiritual. So I'm just kind of having a somber day today. Today's day 18 of year 1. Earlier, it was like I only got like 3 hours of sleep last night because of these events, and I woke up at 8:45 this morning after probably not getting to bed until about 5:30. By the time I actually got to sleep, it was probably close to 6 a.m. Having minimal sleep, I was going to come home and try to go back to sleep myself, but then I thought, no, that's going to screw up my schedule, my sleep schedule, because I still have to work tomorrow, even though I called in today. But I am tired, so I'll probably go to bed pretty early tonight, probably around 9, 10 o'clock. Sleep till 6, 7, 8 in the morning. Get up, hang around for a couple hours, drink coffee, smoke Mary Jane, and maybe put some food in my belly, and then maybe try to DoorDash for a few hours before I have to go to work tomorrow at, I think it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 4 to close tomorrow. And then I'm going to DoorDash on Tuesday. Try to DoorDash all day on Tuesday. Because Tuesday morning I gotta take my grandchildren to school. And then more than likely I'm gonna have to try to take my daughter to get her vehicle. Because she's going to be without her vehicle until Tuesday at the earliest. Only because of Martin Luther King Day weekend. If not, she would have gotten her vehicle back tomorrow, but that's just the breaks. Well, let's see, where is a lighter so I can sit here and wake and bake with you guys. Well, it's not really wake and bake. It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had a little bit of coffee left, so I made me a cup of that a little earlier. I made me some steak. It's a packaged steak. It's like fajita steak. That's what it is. But it's still pretty good. I put like probably 3 decent sized slaps of butter in the pan and heated it up, and then threw the steak in there and covered it up with the butter and got it all nice buttery and let it fry up for a little bit in the skillet. Turned it a couple of times and threw some of that in a bowl and threw some onions on it and ate that up. I don't even know where I was going with this. But I guess I better get off this thing and I'll post it later. Peace, love, hugs, nugs. Till the next time.